Alright, hey everybody, it's Fuego Movie back with another video. Today I'm going to be reacting to a YouTuber that I used to watch when I was younger and I was just starting out on my software engineering journey. So this guy is called Jarvis Johnson. He's a content creator on YouTube and other platforms as well. Pretty much now he does a lot of like eclectic, just different pop culture and different references, things like that, TikTok, Instagram based videos. But in the past he was like solely focused on what it was like being a software engineer, and even more thorough, being a black software engineer. So I really connected with his content and I really enjoyed watching it. I decided for today's video, what I wanted to do was kind of look at an older video of his when I was more based off the software engineering content. So I went through his library, I creeped through his content, and I found this video called "Why You Shouldn't Become a Software Engineer." Because I mean, everyone's telling you why you should. Why shouldn't you? And me being a software engineer, I'm gonna watch the video and give my thoughts. Like, are the points he's making valid? Most likely they are, because Jarvis is a GOAT. I hope you see this, Jarvis. Thank you for everything that you've done for just the world in general. You make some really cool videos, man. But yeah, so we're gonna watch this content and then I'm gonna react to it, and yeah, that's the video, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you want me to do a specific thing. Like, I don't know what kind of videos you guys want to see me make. So just let me know what you're into. All right, let's go.
So you alienated all of your subscribers with one video? Yeah, pretty much. What was the point? Self-sabotage? So I've noticed a trend. A lot of people who follow this channel want to get into software engineering. I wonder why. I realize that a lot of young people and students have been inspired by a lot of the content on this channel, which is amazing. But I've got to be real with you.
I was one of those students, super inspired, still inspired. You're the guy.
Come closer. Too close. Software engineering as a career isn't for everyone. But I don't mean that in a gatekeepery way, like, what I do is so hard, not everybody can be like me. I just mean that everything isn't for everyone forever. I'm not even a software engineer.
I totally agree with what he's saying right now. Like, software, just like everything, like no one, like, people aren't meant to do everything. Like, you're not meant to be a painter and a bowler and a architect and a archaeologist and a, I don't know, astronomer. I just listed out a bunch of A careers with that start with A. That's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, like, people are meant to focus on a specific discipline, whatever makes them most interested, or whatever they're the best at, so yeah, software engineering is just one of many cool fields that you can get into. And if it's not something for you, then that's fine. There are a bunch of other things that could be for you.
Right now. The tea. Chill out. I made a whole video about this like 3 months ago. Sorry, no, the tea. It was too hot. Look, I'm not trying to rock anybody's world here. I just think the hype train has gotten a little out of hand. And I kind of just want to bring expectations back down to earth. Before I get into this though, I'll give my usual disclaimer. Everybody's situation is different. It would be foolish for me to sit here and preach from my soapbox as if I have all the answers. I don't. So take my words, and everyone else's for that matter, with a grain of salt. Only you can prevent forest fires. Can you tell I've had my coffee today? Only you know your situation. So with that out of the way, here's some reasons you maybe don't want to become a software engineer. First, and this one's kind of dumb, just by being associated with computers at all, everyone's gonna ask you tech support questions. You're good with computers, right? I was wondering if you could fix my printer. Look, man, all I know how to do is sort a list of numbers in Python, and I'm not sure how that's gonna help. Whew, that went over my head. Anyway, I think it's something with the ink cartridges. Oh, and suddenly,
big facts. I've definitely had this happen with like family members. Like, if there's anything going on wrong with the TV, I'm the guy they want to call. Like, I'm just tech support. Like, anything that has a CPU, I'm the one to fix it, pretty much. And the funny thing is, like, more often than not, I am the best person to ask to fix this thing, even though it's like not really related to what I do at all. Like, at all. It would be like asking a basketball player like how they manufacture like basketball or something. Like, just like, yeah, I mean, it's related to what I work with, but I don't actually do the specific thing that you're asking me to do. But yeah, pretty funny.
Everybody you know is an entrepreneur with $1 million app idea, and trust them, it's gonna be a success. All they need is for somebody to do literally all of the work. Yo, I've got an idea for the next Facebook, but it's gonna be 10 times more popular. I just need somebody to build it. You in? You know, a third of the Earth's population is on Facebook, right? At the very least, Earth would need like 3 times more people for that to even be possible. It's Facebook, but in space. What does that even mean? Just think of how big it could get. Look, man, just let me out of the car. I gotta go to work. All right, move.
Yeah, you definitely get hit with like crazy app ideas being an engineer. Even engineering students get that too. Like just everyone and anyone has an idea that they think is gonna go to the moon or just blow up and become $1 billion unicorn, and they want to pitch you on it, but not pay you any actual money. Just say like, oh, maybe you'll take a percentage or whatever. But what's a percentage of 0? You know, like, let's be real.
Moving on. This is a big one. People define themselves by being a member of this elite club of programmers. Pro tip, whenever you see people defining themselves by one thing, that culture is gonna be toxic. Sadly, this happens with video games. You play games on your mobile device, you're not a true gamer. True gamers, like me, play games on PC. These birds are angry. Oh, gamer? I have no desire to be a gamer. I just want to pass time on the train. Poser! In tech, prepare to have your validity checked for every little aspect of your technical identity. Like your programming language of choice. Wow, you code in Python? True programmers code in C++. Ha! C++ is for melons. Really real programmers code in C. C? Ha! That's cute. The realist programmers code in machine code. Ha ha. Real machines program humans. What? Oh, nothing. Oh, how about the operating system you use?
So with programming language, that's actually pretty funny. I feel like that really, I've never experienced that in like my actual work or day-to-day life. I would say I see more of that kind of stuff online, like, oh, ha ha ha, you write in JavaScript, noob language, like things like that. Yeah, I would say like people don't like, I don't know, look down upon other engineers who program in other languages. Yeah, there's no like superiority complex. I would say really that I've come across. I'm sure it exists. Like everything is based, or like all jokes are based in like some kind of fact. But it's not that common, to be honest. And like in my role, mostly I do full stack. So that means I'm going anywhere between front end and back end. So I can go as low as C++, or I can go as high as doing some JavaScript front end engineering. So I think what's most important is to like pick something you like and kind of keep getting better at it. Yeah, just keep working on the things you like to do. I think that's what's most important.
Is that a Mac? Real programmers use Linux. Did you just put on fake glasses? Maybe I just imagined that. Anyway, me and some friends are gonna go play Fortnite. You in? Oh, it doesn't work on my computer, but
take off the glasses.
You want to come over this weekend and install Arch Linux from scratch? No. I have total control over my graphical shell and windowing system, but the one thing I can't control is my friends. Even your keyboard isn't safe. Come on.
Man, I just love Jarvis's editing. It's just so snappy and fun. I love it, man. I love it.
You use the chiclet keyboard on your Mac? Yeah, it's literally attached to my laptop. Excuses, excuses. I use a mechanical keyboard. Cool. What can you do with that? All kinds of things. I can make more noise. I swear, I worked on features that millions of users...
That being said, I personally prefer using like a mechanical keyboard. It just feels better when you're spending the entire like hours at a time just writing code. It just feels better when you're at the keyboard instead of using the keyboard attached to the laptop. I mean, I know people who do that, prefer to do that, so more kudos to them. But me, I definitely like having a physical keyboard, a different setup. Yeah.
I've used, I went to a good school, I've received, awards and scholarships, and still there are people on the internet that'll tell me that I'm not a real programmer, or that all of my achievements are because of affirmative action or something. It gets old. And people wonder where imposter syndrome comes from. So yeah, it's not always the most accommodating culture.
Yeah, so I think that's totally a huge thing he just touched on. Like just the idea of imposter syndrome, or so that whole thing about affirmative action, imposter syndrome, like that is a huge thing in the industry. So I wouldn't say that I've seen it or been privy to it or experienced that happening to me specifically. Or that I am aware of it happening to me, at least I should say. But I have seen things like this being posted like anonymously on platforms like Blind. And honestly, I don't know. I think it's kind of a shame. Like, when people get certain opportunities, usually it's based in some merit. Like, it's based in merit. Is everything equal for everyone? No. Like, life's not equal for everyone. But I think more often than not, the people who deserve the opportunities are the one that's given the opportunities. So I think as you embark on your engineering career, don't make judgments about people. Take them at face value and like really view them as a person, their own individual. But yeah, let's promote positivity in the engineering community. Come on.
Culture. On the bright side, there are wonderful companies and organizations that don't exhibit these behaviors, so try to work at those if you can. But once you're a working engineer, even in a supportive organization, there's no guarantees that you'll be working on the stuff that you want to be working on. Some fields of engineering can be harder to get into, and business needs change rapidly, so you probably won't have complete agency in what you work on. Which is fine, by the way. It makes sense. Okay, so this one is going to be hard to empathize with, and I feel
kind of jumping on that point, yeah, you really... I think a good organization does take into consideration what you want to do, but at the end of the day, the business is there to make money, and they have priorities that they need accomplished. So if you're better off being used on one project on project A, when you want to work on project B, like, you're going to be on project A, and that's just a matter of the fact, or the fact of the matter. Yeah, that's the fact of the matter. But that being said, like, I think a good organization will try to, while prioritizing business needs, like, they'll take into consideration what engineer interests are and find a way to try to accommodate both. I think that's when you talk to your managers, your leads, higher org, anything like that. Try to get yourself heard, because you're not just a cog in a wheel, and you should be comfortable voicing what you want to do in your career. Definitely.
And I feel dumb even saying it, but all of the flashy perks that you see in the tech industry, like the free food and the ping pong tables and all that stuff, have business value for the company. Often perks like that are designed to keep you in the office longer or to make you dependent on your workplace. Also, due to something I've talked about in the past called the hedonic treadmill, it's cool for like 5 seconds and then it becomes the norm. I'm not talking about being entitled, by the way. This is like a legitimate psychological effect.
So, I've definitely worked at companies where they've had those perks. Having the free food, or the ping pong tables, video games. I've worked at companies where they had those internships and perks. I've worked at companies or had internships where they had those perks and things like that. And it does keep you in the office more. And you do form stronger relationships with the people you're around, because you have these other things to connect with besides just work. So I think it's cool to take advantage of. I think it's definitely geared towards the younger crowd. Because a lot of times when I was obviously younger when I was doing those things, and I'm still pretty young relatively, and a lot of people who are doing that, playing the foosball, or playing the ping pong, whatever, they were also younger. The older generation, older employees, they were going home. Like, the second the work day was over, they're out. They were going back to their family, back to their kids, everything like that, their spouses. So
if your Maslow's hierarchy of needs is met,
it keeps you in the office longer. I would still finish my work. That's always an important thing with those kinds of perks. You gotta make sure you get your work done, because that's what's most important. And there's a lot of trust that happens in engineering. Like, you're not being held to clocking in and clocking out at a certain time and things like that. Like, you get a good amount of leeway. But you have to but you have that up until you don't. Like, if you're taking advantage of policies and not being reasonable, like showing up late and not finishing your work properly, then there'll be certain actions taken against you.
The flashiest job or perks are going to eventually lose their luster. Taking care of yourself and your future is obviously super important, but don't go in the field because it's trendy or you're expecting to get rich. Most startups fail, and at big companies, extremely talented people can end up working on stuff that they're not excited about because of the sheer concentration of talent and the limited opportunities available that they might be interested in. And finally, I feel like this has been a bummer so far, so I promise I'm going to wrap it up on a good note right after this bummer. It requires a lot of time and effort up front. That's unavoidable. Four-year university programs can often be difficult and draining. You can also not be exposed to the resources for making yourself appealing to companies. which can make the job search a pain. And boot camps are great for career changes and getting your foot in the door quickly, but there's still a very long tail of learning that's going to have to either be supported by your employer or done on your own in order to further your career. The reason a lot of hobbyist programmers end up successful is because they spend so much time outside of work or school doing this stuff. And their hobby happened to have economic value, so they should be considered lucky. When I was in college and I wanted to figure this stuff out, I became a hobbyist far more than I was a student. I put so many hours in outside of my classes and my homework. I did online classes and did tutorials and did projects that no one asked me to do. It was fun for me because I love making things with my friends and we were all learning and growing together. Strategically, I became a teaching assistant in college because I knew that it would make me more effective at my programming interviews. And I also love teaching and helping people understand difficult concepts and explaining them in a fun way. Hence, like the Logan Paul video I did earlier this week. Don't get me wrong, I couldn't have picked a better thing for me to study in college or a better thing for me to start my career with. It gave me a practical and valuable skill set and was instrumental in me attaining financial independence. It's still one of the best careers you can have, and I met all of my best friends because of it. But ultimately, I moved on from software engineering as a career, and that's okay and normal. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I want to do with my life. There's probably not just one thing. Okay, so why am I saying you shouldn't become a software engineer? There's this famous story about Jerry Seinfeld where when up-and-coming comedians ask them if they should pursue comedy, he tells them no. And the reason is, in order for them to be successful, they're going to have to hear that they shouldn't be comedians from their comic idol. You know? So let's just think of me as the Jerry Seinfeld of software engineering. Become a software engineer! I don't do a Jerry Seinfeld impression. And why should you become a software engineer? You should do it because you want to. It's an extremely hard thing to be successful at, so the only way that you're going to get over all of those hurdles is if you genuinely love doing it. And if the market values what you love doing, to quote Hank Green, that's a dream job and you should pursue that. This is your life. You get to pick how you spend it and who you spend it with. Hopefully you don't take that for granted. And now if you're like, well, shit, I thought I wanted to be a software engineer, but now you've made it seem much less attractive. Don't worry, there's far more resources saying the exact opposite of me, so remember, take it with a grain of salt. I know that feeling though, so I'll leave you with this clip from Hank Green's video on a similar topic.
So follow a path, any path, until you get to a place that you feel like you don't like, and then change your direction. Because there's one thing that you are making every day, no matter what you're doing, and that is yourself. That is your job. And you must do it well.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Such a cool video, man. Really love Jarvis's content. Thought I'd take us down memory lane to look at one of the YouTube engineering goats. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the video, what your thoughts are, if you like agreed with my interpretation of the content. And whatever you think I should do next. I mean, you know, this channel is pretty young and I'm still like learning and figuring things out. So I'm definitely in flux and, you know, trying to decide what I want my content to be like or about. You know, if you want to kind of guide me, give me some suggestions of what I should make videos on, let me know. All right, I'm signing off and catch you guys later. Peace.